Welcome to the webinar on web-based course registration and alternate scheduling. I'm Beth Elliott, your trainer today, and we're going to be going over how to set up for web-based course registration. And we'll also give you some of the information to get you going with alternates, because those are usually involved with your registration for the new year. So we're going to be covering transferring tables to the new year, what sort of information you might want to do in your course catalog, how to activate the course registration for the parent-student portal, creating student accounts for the portal, registering courses through the parent portal, and importing those requests in. We're then going to touch on a little bit on the alternates. So we're going to start in MMS Generations because we're starting with the school year maintenance. So we're going to go in from our current school year into admin and then go down to school year maintenance. And in here, you would do your normal roll of current school year to next school year, and you can do an auto default select tables. Now, one of the tables you might want to roll to the new year, depending on how much your schedule changes, is your course section table, and you would use your control key to add it in. You would do a student range, and you might want to start with your year of grad filter. And then with a student range, you would deselect everyone, go in, select the first student who would be returning next year, shift, it was control and click down, and that selects everybody who would be returning. So in my case, with a 4-year high school, I am not taking my seniors, but I'm taking everyone else. I would click OK and process, and if I had any teachers that were not coming back, I could go into my teacher range and uncheck them at this point. Now this has already been done from my database, but the other one I need to do this for is I want to go from the high school, and I'm going to change the from the high school to the middle school. And instead of all my tables selected, I'm going to scroll down and pick up just the student master table because I want to bring in my incoming freshmen. So I'm going to go into my student range. Now I did not change to a year of grad filter first, so I'm going to click on the heading to sort this filter or this selection by that. And I want all my 2020 students. So I'm going to click in one of the 2020s and type 2021 and use my control to deselect from there down. So now I have just my incoming 9th graders. And I'm going to click OK and process. And that's going to bring those new students from the 8th graders at the middle school into my high school. Now this might have to be, if I have multiple elementaries that go up to 8th grade, this might have to be done for each of those schools that would apply to. So it went ahead and did that. The minimum tables that you need for course registration, by the way, are your students, the course catalog, and the department table. Graduation requirements is a good table if you want to be able to show those to the students. So there are some minimums, but it's easy at this point. Just roll over all your supporting tables. The only ones I might have taken away from my regular roll is my health tables. I might not want in those because the compare and update in the school year maintenance only takes new records. It doesn't update any existing records, so I might want to hold off on my health stuff until the end of the school year. All right? So now that we have that done, we can go ahead and exit out. And we're going to shift over to the staff portal so that we can work with that. So I have a question that their biggest concern is fine-tuning what we already do to optimize the scheduling process. They always have spots in their schedule. There seems to be no class available for a student to take a class. Okay. Some of that is not necessarily the intent of this webinar. This webinar, we're working with how to get the registration in so you know how many students are asking for which courses, which can then point you to what you need to do for your schedule constraints, such as how many sections you're going to need to build. So we'll be able to answer that potentially later, maybe at the end of the webinar. So I'm going to come over to the portal, and I'm going to change from 1516 into 1617. At this point in 1617, you can come in under Manage. The configure scheduling allows you to change at this point how large your course codes are, how large your section codes are going to be, but we're only really concerned with the course codes at the moment. The other information that's in here isn't used for the course registration, but it will be later in your scheduling process. But I wanted to, if you needed to add new courses, now's the time to increase the size of your course code if you need to. You can also come in, excuse me, I need to save that. Under Manage is the Edit course. We'll do the Edit departments first. The departments give you a way for your courses so that the students can organize them by what department they are, so they can indicate how many courses or credits they need to select from each department. The department code is up to 4 characters. The description is 24, I believe. So it gives you at this point a way where you can add more departments if you need, or you can modify. Under Manage Edit Course Catalog, you're going to come in and indicate what courses are available for the new school year. If you delete a course out of the course catalog in 1617, it only affects that school year. Anytime that course was used in prior years, it's still going to be there. If you add a new course in 1617, it's only being added in 1617, and it won't automatically appear in prior years. So you have the ability to modify what you want. Just sitting here, you can see you have a list of your courses, the course description, how many credits it's worth, because we're going to be able, when we set up course registration, to indicate a minimum and maximum number of credits the student must select. We have the department so they can organize it that way. As we come across, there is a not available for web, and that gives us the ability to say the students won't be able to pick up that course. And then we have some other things that we can work with that. There's also the ability to set, if I come right just a little bit, we can say whether this course can be an alternate and whether or not to allow student alternates for this course. So if I scroll down a little bit, I'll be able to see that TV, radio, and film can be an alternate, and we're also allowing students to select an alternate for this course. I had a question if this can be done in generations, and the answer is yes. If I go over to generations and I go up to the new school year, if I go to school, edit course catalog, then I'm going to be able to see a lot of the same information, the course code, the description, credits. I have to scroll them all. Here's my department, but now I'm starting to scroll across about whether or not the course is not available for the web. I can also indicate the grade levels for that course. I will get into the notes that are here, and then on the far right is can be an alternate or allow student alternate. So all of this information is available in either side. What's nice when I'm in the portal is if I go to edit a course. So if I take my Communication Studies 10 Honors and I hit the little pencil here, I'm going to be able to see all of this information in one screen. So I have my course code, my course name, how many credits it's worth. I can see what department it's in, and what's nice is that when I'm in here, I also see the description of that department. Then as we come to the right, we have other information that I want to work with. Can this course be an alternate? Do we allow students to pick alternates for this course? And I can say what grade levels are available for this course. Also under here are the 3 notes that we can work with. We have an extended course description, so that if you wanted to do a course of studies, you could put a nice description here. You can have prerequisites and other notes. So the prerequisites might be that there is another course they have to take ahead of time, or there might be things like under other notes that it is on teacher recommendation. I go to a different course. So if I go up, say, to my English 9 course, there we go. We have a nice description here as to what's going on for the course. This can be copied and pasted in. So if I have it in a Word document or something, I can copy it out of there, paste it in here. I cannot import it because it is a memo field that we're coming into, and I don't have a way to import into that at the moment, but I can copy and paste. So you can set up as many of these as you want. And when you set up your courses, if I go ahead and save out of here, when I scroll down on these lists of which courses or which students are available, let me move that right a little bit. And you can start seeing as I continue right some of the notes and so on, but we can indicate here the grade levels that are available for the courses. So that makes it handy for being able to indicate that depending on the course, I might make it available to all of my grades, or I might choose that I want to make it available only to certain grades. So if I come back left where I can see the description, I don't know if I can narrow that up. Nope, I'm not going to be able to narrow that up. But I'm going to be able to see that my TV and radio is available to all of my grades, but maybe creative writing is only available to my 11th and 12th graders. So I can very much limit who can do what. If I come into the creative writing honors, I can see here where it's only 2 of the grades. So you're going to separate your grade levels by commas, and it does need to match what is in the student record. So things like 9th grade. Is it 09? Is it 9? Or is it 009? Whatever I'm using in the student editor, that's what I want in here. And I could put multiples in here if I want, but it's cleaner if I only put one of them in. And if I don't have the combination that I'm looking for of the different grade levels, and I think in here most of them already exist, I can just go into the edit here and just add it in. So if I wanted a course for some reason that was 9th graders and 12th graders, I could put a 09, 12 without a problem. It just put it from there or select from the list. So it gives me the ability to pick who I want. And if I was creating a new one, I would be able to highlight the different grades I want and it would put them in there for me. So that's very much something that can be arranged for you just by highlighting which courses you want to work with. And once that's set up, then you work from there. So this is just you go through your catalog and make sure it's set up for the grade levels that you want. I rolled students to the new year. So under students, I can go into the operations and do a mass edit biographical information because I need to update my 8th graders that are now going to be 9th graders. So I want to edit the value into the selected field. I'm going to select the field that is grade level. The value I want is going to be 09, and I'm going to do a condition rather than a student range, and I'm just going to come in here and say my year of grad I want it to be equal to 2020. And I'm going to add that condition in. And then I want to process. So it's going to go through and take all of my 2020 students and make them 9th grade in the 16-17 school year. At this point, I could also change the state school code if I need to. So if a student moved from a middle school to a different high school, their state code would also need to be changed. Their department's probably the same. The district is probably the same, but the school code could be changed at the same time. So we have that where they're set up to work with. Under my grades, I can see the graduation requirements report, but I will not be able to set up the actual graduation requirements. That I would have to do in MMS Generations. But in here, I can go ahead and set the report up. I'm going to hit Settings to see what I already have. And I have a setting here that was set up by counselor, so I'm going to recall those settings. And it lets me know right up here that it recalled them. So it's going to look when it does the graduation requirements on credits earned and enrolled. And when it looks at those credits enrolled, it's going to look at the current year, which is 16-17, and the preceding year, which is 15-16. And I have a question of, can we do that condition next month for our 8th graders when we do course selection for them without affecting the 15-16 school year? And the answer is yes. If you go ahead and move your 8th graders into the 16-17 high school area, changing what I did is I'm in the 16-17 school year, so it's not affecting 15-16, which makes it really handy to be able to do this. The graduation requirements that I'm setting up is I can set it up for the 2020 students also, the incoming 9th graders. But their report might be a little different because I'm not going to need to worry about credits enrolled because they're not going to have any yet. So that makes it easy. But for most of my students, for my returning 10th to 12th graders, those that I want to work with. So I'm going to report for, it says students deficient in credit, but it says, oh, ignored for the student parent portal. So it knows that if the student or parent is looking, it isn't going to matter whether they're deficient or credit or not. I'm going to give them the report. You can print the report with a summary. So that shows for each department how many credits they've earned, what are required, and what's still owed. And I can include the course details so they can see where they're going so far. And I can include totals by department for each of those course detail, which is really handy. The Start New page for each student, again, is ignored for the student parent portal because you're only working with one student. For failing grades, do I want to leave the credits in credit enrolled or not? Now, for me, I normally would put that as a no, because if they have failed a course, they have finished the course, they're no longer enrolled in it because they have finished it. Therefore, those credits would still be owed. And I can opt to include transfer courses. The school years is where I can come in and specify that my 2017s to 12th graders, see here it says it's in through the wrong years. So I'm going to remove everything and just move the ones for next year. And I'm lining up the year of grad with their grade level so it knows how many years worth of credits to say that they're supposed to be having. And I'm purposely not bringing the freshmen in because the freshmen are going to work a little different. So I can see there, and it says select the school year for the report calculation. So I'm going to do it for 16-17. And that's where it would have adjusted a little bit for me. And it lets me know for the 12th grade is going to be 2017. The grade fields is going to be which grades do I want to show to the student. So I'm going to move first grade. And actually we'll remove everything and put them in order. So I want quarter 1. In my system, I'm doing quarters. Quarter 2, quarter 3, and I'm going to include final. Because the quarter 3 is going to show them how they're doing in the current year, in this time frame that they're working with. Your choice whether you show that or not. The quarters 1 and 2 shows how they're doing so far during the year. And the final average would be for courses that they have actually finished already, either in the current year in the sense of 15-16 or any of their other prior years. So it lets me pick what I want, but I'm limited to 4 grade fields over here. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my settings. And also here you can activate this for the parent-student portal in the current school year, not necessarily for web-based course registration. That's in a slightly different place. So I'm going to go into my settings. And if I want to leave this one here, I can, or I can just change it and put that it's the 2017, oops, if I could type. So I'm going to say it's the 2017 to 2019 summary and detail. And then I'm going to hit the save settings. I'm going to close this. I'm going to change and move over just the freshmen. And I'm going to go back to my options and only show the department summary, because the department summary doesn't need the grade fields. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. So I just want to be able to show the students how many credits they need in each department. So I'm going to add a new setting and change the description. So 2020 summary. I want to save it so it's available, and it lets me know it saved it. So now I'm going to actually configure the web-based course registration for the students. But to do that, I need to go back to 15-16. Because when I'm normally logging into the screen as a parent or student, I'm seeing it from the current school year viewpoint. So at this point, under Manage, we can go over to the course registration. In the course registration, you can select the school year that we want to register for. So this is the 16-17 school year. I had a question if I could show what the summary report looks like, and the answer is of course. So let's go back there for just a moment. So when I do the graduation requirement, I'm going to do it since I'm in 15-16. Let's do my settings for that. There's no settings yet. So I'm going to do earned and enrolled, current, preceding. I'm going to do it for everyone and do this one. I'm just going to do the department summary, and I'm not going to print everyone. I'm only going to print certain students. So let's just print Amy. And we'll do this. My school year, she is a 17 student. So when I print, the summary says for each of my departments that I have set up for graduation requirements, how many credits are required. So it's letting me know I'm doing it for year of grad 2017 through grade 11. So that's 3 years worth. She has earned these where she has passed the course and has credits. She's enrolled in these. Here's the total, and then what's still needed. So she still needs a business class, a half-credit business class, in order to be up to date on her graduation requirements. And this is the type of report that the student is going to be able to see. So you can understand for my incoming 9th graders, it's going to show a credit of English, a credit of social studies, one of science, one of math, maybe one of foreign language, and so on. There's going to be nothing earned, nothing enrolled, just totals, and everything's going to be needed. So it gives them a nice quick, here's what I need. So let's go back to Manage, Course Registration. So in here, when you go to the course registration, you can pick what school year you want them to register for, and that is usually the coming school year. This can be set up, depending on what you're doing, that you're going to do it for the same school year and you're just doing it for the second semester. Some schools will do that for their electives, that they have them where they're doing their electives on a semester basis. So it doesn't have to be another school year, but you have that capability. For each of the school years, each of the year of grads, you're going to be able to specify on this line when it's opened or closed. So if I come in, now the 2016s, that would be if I had a student who was returning and I hadn't changed their year of grad in the 16-17 school year. If I go ahead and hit the edit on that line, I'm going to be able to set up the information and set the starting and ending date of when course registration is open for those students based on their year of grad. So you can stagger when all of these are open. You can do them a week apart, you can do them a couple of days apart, or you can have them all do it at the same time. That's up to you. Here you can indicate a minimum and maximum number of credits the students can select. So it's not going to let them finalize if they have not put at least a minimum of 3 credits or if they've done more than 7 credits. So it cuts down a little bit on the guidance work saying they didn't do enough or they did too much. The guidance can still, in generations, put in more than the maximum credit selection. It's just in the portal we're not allowing the students to. When I print the students or parents are going to be able to print a report, a selection report, and you have the option of whether you want to include a student or parent signature line that, as it says, print summary of requested courses. So I can opt that I can show at least a student signature line, maybe not a parent signature line. You can say whether or not the graduation requirements report is available, and if so, which setting. And it's going to look at next year's settings, not this year. So that's something to remember. And that's why I set up the grad requirements report first, so that I was available when I came in here. So I saved that, and I just repeat that for each of my years, or I can come in and specify. And where I change the label of the report, I need to change that. And I could have, instead of saying 2017 to 2019, I might have done it where I did 12 to 10, so I put it as grade level rather than year of grad. And I still want the student signature. And I can come in. Now, if I don't have any dates, or if the dates are either in the future or in the past, then it is considered closed, and those students wouldn't be able to log in and work with it. But I can go ahead and turn that on right now. Now I can either click the little calendar button and select from there, or I can just type in the date. So I can sort of go forward and back, say how long I want it open, set the credits. Yes, I want to print it. Yes, I want it available. So I'm going to make everybody open. So I had the option that I can just type in the date. Oops. So it might be for my freshmen that they have to have more credits. They have to sign up more for more stuff. And I might want the parent signature line just in case. And I can save that. So it should be everything is open, and I can work from there. That's the first part. The second part is the page layout. The page layout, I again select school year. And now for each of these, I can come in and say what's going on. So if I edit the 2017s, I could come in and modify the area that shows for graduation requirements and who they need to call and talk with. And it might be that at your school that the guidance counselors are set up by grade level. So each grade level could have a different person that they're talking with and or phone number. You can also come in and put in a different note for the course registration page versus the graduation requirement page. I'm actually going to sweep across here and copy it. So I'm going to right click and copy so I can use it in the other one. Because some of what's been set up here, and I want to allow access, is if I look at the HTML, I'm going to be able to see that there's things put in here like what font it is, but it's also that there is a PDF that I am accessing that has my course catalog in it. So it just gives me that option, and I come in, and in here we can actually put in Hyperlink Manager, and I can say that I want to bring that in. But I'm going to cancel out of here, and I'm going to go into the 2019 and do some of the same information. So I'm going to sweep across what I already had and paste it, just to make it a little easier for me. And then in here I can say who they want to work with. So if I move it over, I can do the same sort of thing that I can put in questions. So I can say who they need to talk with. And if I want to change the font, I can sweep across, change the font, and change the size if need be. So if I'd like to make it a little bigger, I can also bold it if I needed to. Sometimes just making it bigger is enough. And I save it. So it gives you that ability to put stuff in. You don't have to put a note in, but it's nice when you do. And the status over here, it lets you know whether it's opened or closed based on the prior information. So it gives us that area to be able to pull things in. For parents or students, now if I go into Parent View, I can do a student search. Now I'm in the 15-16 school year. So that's what it's going to show me. So I actually need to change to 16-17 to see some of what the students are going to see. By changing the school year, I need to redo the parent search, the student search, because I have a different set of students. So if I look at just the A's, I'm going to see that I have Amy Abbiatici, but I don't have her sister Christine because Christine is graduating. So if I go ahead and click on Amy, because I'm in 16-17, it knows where I'm axing. So if it says, where I want to look, and I would normally have a list of courses here. But if I go up to course registration, this is the current what they're in. They don't have anything that they're scheduled in yet, which is why nothing shows for Amy, but I can go to my course registration tab, and I want to enter course requests. At this point, I can see what has been requested so far and has not been finalized. So courses that are checked are ones that they have signed up for. And some of those, like this applied technology, gives me the option that I can put in alternates. And I can just click on that, and it allows me to pick up to 3 different alternates. And I can either go after those by the course name or the course code. So I'm in Applied Tech. I can drop the list, and it might be, well, if I don't get Applied Tech, then I want Robotic Design. And they can pick up to 3, and it's going to put them in both areas. The student can only select a course to be an alternate once. So I can't say that, well, for Applied Technology, if I don't get it, I want robotics. And if I'm in drafting and I don't get it, that I get robotics. It doesn't work that way. They have to supply different courses. And this only applies, it's only going to go to the alternate if they don't get into their first course. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And at this point, it lets me see that I can view and edit the alternates rather than I want to select a new one. Up here, here's where the message was that I set up prior to this. And if I click here, it's going to bring up whatever I had in there for my course of studies. So this is, for my sample, it's just a 1-page PDF. But you can make this as many pages as you want, so it lets you do it by department, put in the courses so they can see what they're working with. Because it's a PDF, you can do whatever you want with it, where you can italicize, you can underline, you can use bolding and so on. That's entirely up to you. So it's just a matter of saving it and making that file available. And then I just have to close it out when I'm done. As I go through here, I can sort by the department. So now my courses are going to be in department order when I scroll down, which makes it a little more interesting to be able to see what's here. I have my extended course description, the prereq, and other notes. If I hover over it, it's going to give me a first so many characters of that description that I put in. If I click on it, I'm going to be able to see the full description. So it hands out. Now, as I said, you're not seeing the italicized here, but you can still see the names of the courses and that sort of information. And then you just close it out when you're done. If I want to view the graduation requirements, I can click on that button. That's going to give me the information that I specified in my setup. Here's the department summary. It's going through grade 12, so I know I need at least an English course and a business course and my PE or health. That's the minimum this student needs to be on track. I have a question, is this the view the parents and students will see? And the answer is basically yes. They're not going to have this menu up at the top, and I'll also log in as a student so you can see what they see. Right? But this was just an easy way to show it. And as you scroll down, here's the summary. Here's the detail that I talked about we were setting up. So for each of the departments, it shows the courses the student has taken, and they're going to be in course code order. Actually, course code within the school year. And then it gives earned versus enrolled, so I can see that they're still enrolled in this American Lit 11 honors. And sometimes being able to show the grades that they're doing so far lets them see, oh, I'm in an honors course, I'm in mid to high 80s, I'm going to stay in honors. So it lets me see what's going on. So I have a question, is there a way to set this up so that students can only see classes that they are eligible to take, so that English 11 would not appear in a 12th grade English students, 12th grade students? And the answer to that is yes. So let me close out of here. So when I'm in 16-17 and I'm managing the course catalog, I edit the course catalog. One of the things we were working with was what grade levels are the courses available for. So if I'm looking here at a 12th grade student, I have my Com Studies 12 as course 111, 113. Com Studies 12 Plus is 112, but 110 and 111 are my 11th grade courses. As I scroll right, you were indicating what grade level they were available for. So by making only one grade level in here, that's where you specify which ones they can see. Some courses were made available to both. So it lets me work with that, but that's where it comes into. Okay. If I log out of the staff portal and I go into the student portal, or this could also have been the parent portal, but I'm going to go in for student. There's going to be two areas. They're going to be the normal login area, and at the bottom, it's letting me see what year of grads are available for the 16-17 school year, and there is a separate register button. So when I click on that, it's going to bring me to a different login screen. If they have already logged in, then I can just go ahead and type in their username and password. And when you rolled the students from 15-16 to 16-17, their username and passwords went with them. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And now I'm going to see the list of courses. You'll notice I don't have menu choices at the top because this is the only thing they can do here. So if I go back to my department and I look at my English classes, and I could have done this by course code, in which case my English would be at the top. But you'll see that 11th grade isn't here because it's not available to the student. Okay, so I can only pick what's available for the student. So I'm going to go into AP, Lit and Comp for next year. I can continue down, pick what else. I have the option because they don't require it for a social studies class, but I might opt, I want to take economics anyway. I can come in and pick, I might not want math that year, and see what else I need. So maybe I need to pick up my Spanish 4, and I'm just scrolling down and checking what I need, see what's here. Now I need a business class because I was short the half a credit for that. And it's letting me see up here how many courses and how many credits. They do get to see, and it shows the minimum and maximum. If I view finalize my selections, I'm going to be able to see what I have selected so far, and I can also see the alternates and so on, or whether principles of marketing, even right here, I can add my alternates into it. So if I don't get principles of marketing, maybe I want partnership with business. Now, when you set up your alternates, there is not a way to say these courses are the alternates for these. You're just saying which ones are alternates. So they're going to need to pay a little bit of attention to make sure that they're not mixing and matching full year or full credit with half credit courses, which, is still okay. And I'm going to put in a second alternate for this one. So we're in marketing, so let's throw it in that way. And if I tried to put robotics, because I put robotics earlier, it tells me it's already been selected and it doesn't even leave it in the list. So I'm going to save this, and if I print the summary, that's going to show me what I've selected so far with how many credits, and it shows me the alternates. There's a student signature line with a date, so if they print it out, you can see it. The transfer status is whether it's been transferred into the system or not yet. And if we had a parent signature line, it would be under this. So just as a way that you're saying, here's my list of what I signed up for, and they can sign off on it, so that come the fall when they say, well, I didn't ask for that, you can come back and say, oh, yes, you did, and here's your piece of paper that you signed. But students never tell you that they didn't sign up for that. So it gives the option to be able to come in and see it. Now at this point, I can go back to enter more course requests, in which case I can go ahead and select another class. And I can come in and say, oh, well, I want to pick up something else because I don't have enough to do that day, so I'm going to pick up my creative writing. So I can do that too. When the student is done, they're under the View Finalize. Besides printing the summary, they can click Finalize. And there is a caution here. Once you click Finalize, you cannot make any further changes. You would have to clear those out in Generations and reset them to put that in. But I'm going to go ahead and finalize for Amy. And it lets me know that I can't make any more changes, and be sure to print a copy. So I have a question of what about courses that require a prerequisite? Say a student needs a basic art class before upper level art classes. Is there a way to flag or make a note when a student tries to schedule an upper level art class that tells them they should have taken basic art first? There is nothing in here right now, but they can, if they were back in the other area, they would be able to see when they do their graduation requirements report. If you include the course detail, they'll be able to see that. But we do not have anything in the system right now for prerequisites to make sure that they know they have to take both. There is, if they are semester courses, the course sequencing is that's where in course sequence you can say, oh, if I'm in the advanced art class, I have to take the basic art class first within the same school year. But it's not going to look across school years. So there's still some work that the students and or guidance has to look at. So this is all done. I'm going to come in here and log out. Now I can go ahead and register. Let me come back into the staff one so that I can get the username for one of my incoming students. So one of my 9th graders. Now, actually, I should have come into the admin portal. Let me come out of here and go to the admin portal. When I go to the admin portal, and whether I come in as administrator or a user with full administrator privileges, the area that I'm going to can be either one, but I'm going to go to the 16-17 school year. And under site admin, I want to create temporary student accounts. So rather than create one on my own, I'm going to be able to come in and I can view the accounts, the temporary accounts as they currently are. And there are none in the 16-17 school year. So I'm going to create accounts for everyone. And what this does is it uses the ID number of the student for their username, and it puts in a random 7-digit number for their password. So if I take Megan Alley here, and I can see that she is 0840132 and a password of 2721449. Now I can export this list to Excel, and what that gives me is the ability to say, oh, I want to do return address stickers, just so I have a nice small piece of paper or maybe on regular address labels. So I can have something that I can hand out to the students with instructions on what they need to do. And I can say, oh, here's the student name, their homeroom, their grade level, username and password so they can log in and do their course requests. I have a question of, do they have to make new accounts every year? And the answer is no. Because I'm working with a sample data most of my students didn't have. If you remember, if you notice, Amy Abbiatici isn't here, the student I just worked with, because her username and password rolled from last year to this year, from 15-16 into 16-17. It might have been the only ones I was adding were my 9th graders, because they were the ones coming in. So it just depends on what you're working with. But it gives me the ability to go in and see what's going on. The first time that the students come in, so if I go ahead and close this, and I could just reset everybody and start over, but I can close. If I needed to reset a specific student, I can go under Site Admin and reset either the student or the parent login. And the people that are going to be in here are those that have logged in, that have usernames and or passwords. So it lets me see what's going on. So I could reset Amy if I needed to. Charles here has one, so I could actually change that depending on what I'm working with. So some of these are the temporary passwords, but it's also going to include those that the parent set up. The other thing I can do if I log out of here and go back into staff, if I had not created those accounts, or even if I had, if I go into the staff portal, under the biographic, under the students, there's the compare and update for a new school year. So depending on when I roll to the new year, if I want to update those usernames and passwords for the students, I can come in from 15-16 for the high school for selected students' data and say, I want to go to the 16-17 school year, and the fields I want to work with are my STU. This is the student's parent portal, not the contact's parent portal username and password, and whether they have logged in for the first time or not. So I can move those over for the student, and if need be, I can scroll up and do it for the contacts also. So there's whether the contact first login, the contact parent portal, and username. So I can take the contact username and password and the student's username and password, and just those items. I'm not changing grade levels, I'm not changing homerooms, and I can go ahead and process. And if the student in 15-16 is also in 16-17, it's going to copy the information. And what's really nice with the portal is not only can I do it high school to high school, but I could have been in the middle school and move it to the high school for my incoming 9th graders. So I can even do it across school boundaries when I'm in the portal. So that makes it really handy to be able to bring that in. But that lets me bring it in. But if I go back to the student portal and I come in as Megan Alley, who's an incoming 9th grader, I can type in her username that the system created. I can type in the temporary password. And the first thing it's going to want me to do is change out of the temporary password and put in a new one. And now I'm in, I go to my graduation requirements, and her grade level doesn't match what's in the courses, so it's not showing me anything. I should be able to see her graduation requirement report and go from there. I have a question of, do I need to create a new user and password if the student already has an account? And the answer is no. I did that with Amy Abbiatici. She already had a username and password, so it let me in using that because it was the same one in both years. It is possible to have different ones in each year, but the intent is to have the same one in each year. Okay? So it just makes it easy for me to be able to come in. Now, part of the reason that Megan doesn't have any courses yet is my system here says that it's Tuesday and not Wednesday. So if I change my calendar to today and I go back here to courses area, or if I log back in, student, thank you. So I now log in as Megan, and because it now knows it is open for this student, I now see courses that are available for my 9th grade student. So it's not going to show anything if they're not ready to have it open yet. Okay? And because I had not set up a description at the top, it just gives me the default user-defined request area. And the same would be, and I can see the other. So it lets me pull in whatever I want for the student. Let's have a couple of them that I can work with. So I want an art class. I'm going to take band. I need to pick up 9th grade English. I'm going to pick up my Algebra 1. She's just going to get the first of these courses. She's going to get civics. Let's go Intro to Tech. And she gets 9th grade English and 9th grade PE. Oops, yep. So I have 6.8 credits. I need up to 7. I'm going to view finalize. I didn't select any alternates, so I can come in here and select some alternates. I might try for robotics, but because I'm a freshman, I might not get there. But it comes in and lets me in. And actually robotics is not available for a 9th grade student. So it's not here for me to pick. So I'm going to pick up TV radio. And for my band chorus, if I don't get it, I'm going to go pick voice production. So I have some alternates here. And then I'm going to finalize. So I have 2 students who have finalized their requests. I can go ahead and log out. If I go into MMS Generations to import them, I'm going to be in 1617. I'm going to go to School Operations, I'm going to go to Schedule Operations, and I'm going to import course requests from the Parent Portal Requests table. So I can see 2 students have come in there, 2 have finalized. I can confirm my course requests as they are processed. What that means is that the student has made requests that I might have since somehow deleted the course out of the 16-17 school year, and I want to be notified of that. I can display those errors immediately on the screen, which means I have to monitor what's going on with it. And I can include successfully transferred records in the log table so I have sort of a continual what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and import. Lets me verify. Here's the ones that are coming in for Amy. This is where I was verifying. And I could at this point do a review if I wanted to and deselect a course, saying, no, you don't get to play with that one. And that's just hold a control key down and deselect and say okay, and I can accept all or reject all. And then here are Megan's classes. She's okay. I'm going to accept all. And accept all is just select them all. So it brought those in. I have 12 courses that were transferred. 1 was rejected, 1 error, and I can view the log. So this was a rejected request for Amy, but everything else came in. So it lets me see that information. If I am at the end of my course registration time frame, I can opt to process all requests, whether they're finalized or not. So I have a question of, are students able to select general alternates instead of alternates for a specific class? So the students, they select 7 course selections and 3 alternates, which can be substituted in anywhere, and the answer is no. They have to be associated with a specific class. So it's not as easy, because when it goes through, it's looking for which course didn't they get and what do you want instead. And not all courses allow alternates. So that's where it becomes a thing that you need to work with. So I don't as easily have where they are. Now you could create a course that says pick alternates, and then that's the course that they use to do those other ones, just so that you have them on record. But there is not an easy way for them to say which ones they're going to go to. Is there a way to require students to indicate an alternate for specific classes? And the answer is no. You do in MMS Generations, if not in the portal, have the ability under Schedule Operations where you can mass edit in alternate selections. So you can go in and say, okay, for this course, I want to add an alternate. Everybody who selected my Intro to Tech, I want to force a specific alternate, and I can do errors if they didn't already have one there. So I can do that, but not saying that they have to select something. That could be something that you put in the requirements at the top, so that when you're setting up your notes for the area, if I log out of the student and actually let me go into the student for just a moment. Because if I come in as Amy, it lets me know she's already selected. But up here where we put the note about the catalog, you could make a notation that there is information there for them to look at. Also in the other notes, in here, when I look at the status of the requests, I'm going to be able to see that there was an error for this course and the other ones were either transferred or rejected. So the student didn't get into 115, AP Lit and Comp, and we would have to go look somewhere else to find out why there was an error transferring that course. If I logged in as Megan, when I look here, we're going to see that all of her courses should have transferred in. So it lets them see what the status is. If I go back into the staff portal lets you run the schedulers, but it doesn't let you at this point put in requests for the students at this point. I can go in through the parent view, but I don't have any other way to put those in. So it lets me see what's going on, but not the other. So those I would have to do in generations and see what was going on. You can, under schedule operations at the bottom, clear course records from the parent portal. So you would be able to come in and you can say all records for the current school and year. You can only do those that are transferred, rejected, or in error. And I can do a student range. So if someone finalized by mistake, you can come in and limit. And you can also do it based on a date range of what's out there. If I exit out of here and click on the view and go down to my student tables, I can look at the student course request table and I can see based on their ID number, the courses they selected, the day it was saved, and the day it was transferred. The request flag, whether the T is transferred, the E was an error, and the R was rejected, and what alternates are out here. So I can see some of that information as I go. Which is kind of neat. And now if I go into the student scheduler, Amy is probably my first student, so here are her requests. And it might be that the American Lit, AP Lit, was rejected because she already had it in her schedule. And for some reason, I was bringing in courses more than once. Now, the current year credits are showing 0 because we have not scheduled anything. But I can come over to the student alternates, see what courses can have alternates, and which ones are alternates for those. And I can modify at this point. You can come in under schedule, more reports, and you can print a student scheduling student alternates listing. So I can include students whose those that have been scheduled into an alternate versus all of them. And I can include only those students that are scheduled into an alternate, which I don't want to do. I just want to see everybody. So when I print, it's going to show me those students that have alternates. I don't want to see those that are scheduled into an alternate. I just want to see those that are assigned. So I have the selected course and the alternate so I can see what's going on in the new year. So it does give you that possibility to go in and see what's going on. Okay. So it's kind of nice to be able to come in and see that information. But it does give you that ability to come in and see where they're at with it. The student course request table that I looked at the view here is a report that is available in Precision Report Writer. So you would be able to come in and see that information. So I could pull it in if I needed to. Or you can do a browse for it. At the end of the year, once you've brought all your requests in, That's where under schedule operations, you can clear those course request records. So it makes it easy for you to start over. Because you don't, there's no reason to leave them out there. If I'm in the MMS generations where I had alternates, if I go in under schedule, more reports, and I print a course request list by student, if I pick up my 2 students that I have so far that I know have alternates, so I want Allie and Megan. I want to show my alternate selections. When I print this, what's nice is the alternates have the angle brackets in front of them, but it's also going to show you, and they'll be directly under the course that was requested. So I can see that my robotic design was the same credit value as my applied tech, but my principles of marketing, the partnership in business, is a full credit course where the principles of law is a half credit course. So it's something that I might need to look at as to what's going on. And those alternates are not included in the total credits. So it just gives me a little bit of information to go with it. Okay. But that's your webinar on web course registration setup and how to set up for your alternates.